What's going on? So this is officially live on a beautiful Monday, which means you and I are going to have a conversation, both Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. What's going on? So we're going through the curriculum that I wrote. Okay, that's like the backbone of B100 Dance. You have PKC, which is 5 steps, which I think are foundational to all dance. And they're both specific and general in very unique ways. So they're specific because the 5 things, musicality, diversity, expression, freestyle, and choreography, can be used for you and your dancing in the specific way that you're using it. At the same time, it's general enough that all styles and all dancers from all backgrounds can use it and apply it to themselves. Right? So I said in the very first time when I was introducing the PKC curriculum, before I started diving into each of the steps, that when I first started brainstorming on what the PKC curriculum was, I had this idea of like, what would it look like for a class? What would it look like to have a class where all dancers, like a ballet dancer to a hip hop dancer to a tap dancer to a contemporary dancer to a Bollywood dancer to I'm trying to find new ones every single time I come on, but like all the different genres, all different styles, all different types of dancers for all different reasons can come into the class and still benefit. I'm like, what would that even look like? And as the seed was planted, I watered the seed, kept brainstorming about it, and I came up with something called the Personal Kinetic Curriculum, which I shortened to PKC because the Personal Kinetic Curriculum is not a phrase I'm going to say as many times as possible in this live stream. So the PKC is designed to do exactly what I just said. Be general enough for all dancers to come into a class and benefit, as well as be specific enough for each individual person. And that's why it's the backbone of B100 Dance, because I'm able to use it with every class and every private lesson that I teach, because I'm designing it for each person to benefit from. So let's get this rodeo started. My name is Joel Casanova, and I'm the creator of B100 Dance, the business in question at the moment. The one that is the house for PKC, right? And this is a talk show that exists to help your dance journey be healthy, productive, and 100% yours, right? So as we're putting all this stuff together, we did musicality, and I explained what musicality was, and then I gave you an example by reacting to a video. And then I did diversity and explained the technique behind that, and then did a reaction video. We're going to do the same thing for expression, freestyle, and choreography, but today is expression. So let's get into it. When we talk about expression, we're talking about injecting real emotion into your dancing, right? Like you are the funnel for the real emotion as the tool. The tool is your body. The tool is you as a person, right? So we can use that and inject real emotion into dancing in 2 specific kinds of ways. The first way is as a technique, and the second way is like in an organic sense. So as a technique, we have to understand that facials, like what you're doing with your face, facial expressions, as well as like body language and like what you're doing and expressing yourself through your body, those are all muscles. So we can train them, we can develop them, we can sharpen them for specific uses. So one person that does this really well, I'm sure he can dance. I'm not sure if he ever did that like professionally, but Dick Van Dyke, right? Dick Van Dyke is a super old actor, and when he was doing stuff like in like a TV show that he had, like black and white type TV show, his body language was crazy. It was amazing. Like the physicality that he put into his body as a dancer, I appreciated so much. because like he's like 6 something, or was 6 something at the time. And like he would like go from like standing really tall like on a ladder to like falling down the ladder, falling on his face, and like all doing it safely but super convincingly. And then he'd like walk away from what's going on, and he pretend like he's hurt even though he's not. And you could see how he like moved his body to be like, wow, this guy's really really good at this. um Dancers have that, not necessarily innately, it can be trained. Some people have it really innately, but the idea is that as dancers, when we're expressing ourselves, when you see like someone like Michael Jackson, all the way to someone like Yaya Vankova or Philip Chabib, or like people that I know that you look, when you look them up online, you're like, oh, they're like really in their body. And that makes sense, because as dancers, our the biggest tool is our body. So it's a technique. It can be trained, it can be sharpened, like what you're doing with your face and how you're trying to like show real expressions, like, oh, realistic expressions, right? You're like, I'm trying to explain to you that I'm the villain in this, or like I'm the innocent person who's just trying to like get along with his life. Two very drastically performances that I've done specifically. One was it was a ballet, but I interjected like hip hop and my own personal style into it. Essentially, I played a demon. Essentially, right? So the whole moral of the story of the ballet was like, hey, let's not get into the demonic. And they're like, Joel, can you pretend to be a demon and tell them why this is bad? And I'm like, say less. Right? So like I was like this creepy, like no one could see me on stage because it was like the spirit world versus the physical world. And I'm like crawling around and going through all this different stuff, and like I put it in my body as I was like trying to be like outer worldly. Versus another performance that I did where essentially I was this character where I had like my favorite hat, and I was like going throughout my life, and like basically like all these characters kind of came through, and my hat got lost and it was stolen, and then like I was trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, I just want to go about my day and walk through the park, but all these people start getting into fights around me, or like they're like doing all this different stuff. And so I'm like kind of like in a whirlwind of people, right? So in the first one, I wasn't actually evil or demonic, right? So there's that. And then the second one, I was playing a character who was innocent, naive, and like ignorant of all the people that are around him, and just trying to live his life, right? I was aware that I was putting on a physicality that showed that. So I'm training my body in order to show these emotions physically and facially, because when you're in real life, people just react to things, right? You're like, we're walking down, you see like a rat, and you're like, ah, like get that away from me, right? No one told you to move your body or your face, but you did because it was natural. Dancers can train that muscle or those muscles in order to show something that's so realistic and so believable, right? So expression can be used as a technique. However, on the other side, you have the organic sense of expression where, yes, you are a tool for dancing, and that's the biggest tool we have in our tool belt, quote unquote. But it's also used for personal benefit or even artistic release, right? Like you are a person who's dancing. So a lot of times the best things that people get from dancing, like the ground zero thing is like, I hear music and I'm dancing because it makes me feel good. It makes me happy. I can express my emotions. I'm like giving myself some kind of like stress release. I'm like feeling the emotions of a dance, or even like connecting to other people, right? So it's like you as a person, like humans are emotional creatures just naturally, right? So we are designed to have emotions and release those emotions as people. Dancing is the best way to do that because you don't have to articulate anything necessarily. I don't have to think about what it is that I'm feeling and say like, okay, here are the words that I'm trying to say to express myself. Because even if you said them correctly, quote unquote correctly, that doesn't necessarily make you express the emotion. You need to feel the emotion kind of pass through you. And dancing is the best way to do that because you can turn on a sad song, you can turn on a happy song, and everything in between, and just express through your body in a way that is the most organic, right? You play a song and you're just like jamming in your room or like in the kitchen, sliding on your socks, and you're like, this is what I've been trying to express the whole time. Like, this makes me happy and it helps me express my happiness. You can put on a sad song and like let it kind of like move you, so you're expressing your sadness in a way that you don't have to necessarily cry if you don't want to, but also like it's expressing it in a more like, I'm using this language to express how I'm feeling and kind of get it out of me, if that makes sense. So because humans are emotional creatures, emotions also color the experiences that we have. So you think back to like a time you were dancing, or think back to a good moment that you had, or think back to like a sad moment you had. And it's not necessarily just the facts of the situation. You're thinking about how you felt about what was going on. Which means when we have experiences with other dancers or other people using dance, you remember that in an emotional capacity, and you can connect to people in a specific way. Social dancing is really good at this, like salsa, bachata, merengue, blues, waltz, cha-cha, like all these different like connective dances, West Coast swing, East Coast swing. When you connect with someone, you have a really good dance. It's not just a really good dance, it's kind of an emotional experience, because you're dancing with someone literally. And that can happen in other senses too. You're like, when you're taking a hip hop class, you're taking a contemporary class, and you're like you're like trying to get the choreography, and then you don't get the choreography, and then you do get the choreography, and you have like a victory dance, and you're like, yeah, and you see someone else like kill the dance, and you're like, dude, you did so well at that, or whatever. We're bonding emotionally with other people. And so like that happens because we are emotional creatures. We are wanting to connect to other people as people. And that's the other way that expression can connect, right? One is like personal artistic release. Like, I'm a choreographer and I'm trying to like capture this moment and this feeling. And so I do it with choreography. As a person, I want to express and feel some kind of emotions. For me, if you've ever been in the car with me when I'm listening to music, everyone listens to music in a very different way. For me, I just put my playlist or my whole Spotify on shuffle, and I just ride the emotion that's in the car while dancing in a very safe way with my seatbelt on. But the idea is like, I'm just riding the emotion. So I'm like jamming out. I'm like, yeah. And then like the song changes. And I'm like, nah. And then so it goes back and I'm like, I'm in love. And like, I'm going through it with the artist. And so like I do that because I'm used to choreographing. I'm used to saying like, what is the emotion that these people are expressing through their song? Let me capture that. And I do it through choreography. When I'm not choreographing, I'm just feeling everything, right? And it's, for me, it's fun. Versus on the other side, when you think of it as a technique, it's like, I'm training and honing this muscle so I can capture this while being a character or as a performer. So like, I know exactly how I should change my face or my body in order for me to express in a realistic way, like, wow, this person's really scared, or wow, this person's really happy, or wow, this person's like the villain of the story, right? It's like, I know how to like express my body and change my physicality and my facials so that you believe everything that I'm doing on stage, right? That also helps logistically, because logistically you might not always be feeling what it is that you're feeling as a performer. Like, I'm supposed to go out into the scene and be like, I just got broken up with by my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm single. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't feel this way at all. But my character does. So I'm not being Joel right now. I'm being my character. So I walk out and I'm like, like crying and tears and snot. And, it's like, I want you to see that it's believable. And because of that, comes to the second logistical thing. Like, the audience needs to connect with the people on stage. That's how they're going to be affected. Because dancing is never just about you. We, people, connect through dancing. That's why it's the best tool we have as human beings, right? It's like, we are dancing together, or you are dancing and I'm feeling everything that you're feeling, right? So it goes back to what I said in the very beginning of this, which I tell my students all the time, is that you are the emotional straw. Okay? So like the liquid in a cup is the emotion. And the person who's like watching is like the viewer, right? And they're drinking through a straw. You are the straw. So when it comes through you, you will be feeling some type of way, right? Or your body is the straw and you are the person drinking. So like it goes through your body. So you're feeling all the emotions at some point. You will benefit from this. So there's like two sides of the coin. The first one is you have like train yourself to express the emotion, right? You're training it as a technique. I'm honing my body so that when I perform, it's a specific way. And then you know how to kind of like kick drive yourself in to real emotion, right? So like you basically you've crafted a container when you train your muscle for and facials and body language for expression. And then you fill the container with real emotion, right? So you're like, this is how I actually feel. Like when I'm in this situation, this is what I would actually do or actually feel like in this situation. And then there's vice versa, right? So you have like, I'm used to expressing myself as like it's a normal thing. When I'm dancing, I'm feeling emotions and I just got used to that, right? And then when you start performing, it's like, I already know how I feel when I'm doing this. So that means when I'm doing this, I know I can like reference my actual life. Like I've been mad before. If my character's mad in this thing, that's what I'm going to do. Or like I've been sad before. My character's sad in this moment. I'm going to be sad in this way. This is how I express myself. So when you do that, you're helping both sides. Now you don't need to do one or the other, right? You can do both. But that doesn't mean you have to do both either, right? So you might be dancing just so that you can express yourself and feel the emotions and use that as a personal benefit or as a choreographer, an artistic expression, right? You don't have to validate that in any kind of way. Like it's your reason for dancing, it's valid, period. At the other side, you are performing and you're on stage and you have a character. It's like, I do this because I perform on a regular basis. I need to know and do this and express myself in a way that is legitimate. It's like, this is realistic. So it's like, this is what I'm using for it, right? Your goal might be completely different, but you're still using expression in order to benefit from it. And so going back to the fact that the personal kinetic curriculum is designed to help you with your personal style, the way you express, what you express to, how you express it, for what reason you express it, is all yours. It's all personal to you. And so everything that you're going through should be from your dance journey. It should be 100% yours. It should be beneficial to yourself. And so personal kinetic is like, okay, let's step outside of a genre of dance real quick. Let's train you in how to do this thing. And just by training in emotion and expression, you might find out that you like performing, but you didn't know. Or you might be like, yeah, I like performing, but like I didn't realize I could just do this for myself. Or you're like, this is helping me with both because I do both. That's personally my story. Like I dance because I enjoy it and I love it so much. But I also love performing. I love being characters. I love creating stories through dance. Like if I'm creating characters through dance, they can't just be emotionless because they wouldn't be real people. You know what I mean? So in that way, there's a benefit for everyone when it comes to expression because you're stepping into like how you dance. And I even said last week, once you get to diversity, you can make choreography. You have musicality, you have the ear, you combine them together to a specific song, and you can like say, I'm going to make this dance how it is. You have all the building blocks you need for choreography. But there's like layers to choreography that's not just the actual moves. There's the feeling behind the moves. And that's really, really important, because when you're stepping into it, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not just doing this choreography because this is cool choreography. I'm doing this choreography because I want to feel a specific way, or vice versa. I made this choreography for a character who feels this specific way, so it should express that. So Wednesday, when we wrap all this stuff up, I'm going to be reacting to two different performances of the same dancers dancing to two completely different songs and like being completely different characters. And you'll see that it's not just one noted, because they're being emotional as people. Right? So like a lot of times it's like, I need you to feel something. And we immediately think of like flowy contemporary sadness, right? And it's like that's not the human experience. The human experience is like a wide range of different emotions. So I don't want to get too much into it because that'll be Wednesday. But that is the third step of the PKC curriculum, of the personal kinetic curriculum. And I would say, personally, try both, right? So find a song that you like, that you can express your emotions to, regardless of how it looks, right? You're just using the dance and the movement to express how you're feeling in a specific way. Then I want you to find a song that has like a story to it, or like has some kind of background to it. And then I want you to express yourself matching that song, even if that's not how you feel at the moment. And see which one naturally connects with you. Because as we're dancing, when you start dancing, you start feeling the emotion of what you're doing. And you might find that you can connect your real emotion to a character a lot easier than you think. And you're like, oh, that's because you have a performance streak in you that you didn't know. And it might be vice versa. You're like, I'm always performing, all doing all this different stuff, but I want you to disconnect it from who's watching and make the audience yourself. Like, I'm feeling this and this is how I'm expressing. So when I'm moving, that's what I'm feeling for myself. So two very different reasons for doing it, but they all connect to your personal style and how you express through it. Wednesday, be there or be square. I teach people to do this all the time. I've taught like musical theater kids. Yeah, they're not kids, but musical theater students who love performing and are like using my training that I'm giving them specifically to audition to perform as characters that are not themselves. Right? And then I've also I've also taught people that it's like, I want to do this for myself. I want to get better at this. This makes me feel happy. I want to keep coming. And so it's like, this is what they're doing it for. I want to feel the emotion that dance gives me. And it's like two very different people, but they're all not getting the same training. But like I said, PKC is the backbone of B100 Dance. I'm designing it and configuring it to them. So hit me up, b100dance.com, and at b100dance on the Instagrams. So, and here's the information that I have for my private lessons, my adult classes and stuff. You can hit me up. This is the information that you need to get what you want. Have a great day, and I'll see you Wednesday.